Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, and again I say rejoice. You know, that was one of my favorite songs growing up when I was in youth group, and we used to sing that song in Sunday school all the time. Philippians 4:4 says, rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Welcome to another edition of the Word for you today, for this Friday morning. Paul writes, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. Why did Paul repeat himself? Because joy is the fuel that we run on. And unless we maintain it, we can run out. That means regularly checking our fuel gauges to make sure that we're not being sucked into all the negativity and doubt that is out there in the world. In the Bible, wine represents joy. In fact, Christ's first miracle was turning water into wine, the best that the people had ever tasted. You see, Jesus is a joy giver, and when you stay connected to him, you experience his joy regardless of the circumstances that you're going through. In John 15:9-11, Jesus said, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. Did you catch that? These things I have spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you and that your joy may be full. Think about this for a moment. How can we walk around saying that our sins are forgiven, that God guides us and protects us, and that we're going to heaven, and yet walk around looking like we've been baptized in pickle juice? In prison, Paul had so much joy that his jailers were won over to Christ, and a church sprang up literally in the household of Caesar. We see in Philippians 4:22, all God's people here send you greetings, especially those who belong to Caesar's household. You see, people are always more influenced by your attitude than by your theology. Always. When they see you rejoicing in the hard times, they're apt to wonder what your secret is and to think, you know, whatever that person has, I think I need some of that. They become more open and receptive to the truth. The happiness that this world offers is only a reaction to circumstances, whereas the joy that comes from living for Jesus lifts you above the circumstances. That's right. It's easy to be filled with joy when everything's going our way, when things are great. But how do we react when things don't go our way? I think of a young man named Scotty. Scotty was a member of our youth group. He was the goalie on the high school soccer team. And there were a lot of kids from our youth group who were on the high school soccer team in the town of Lewisburg, PA, where we were at the time. And the boys made it all the way to the state semifinals. They were playing at Hershey Park Stadium on a cold November night, and they were playing against one of the top-rated teams in the country. And that night, the boys played a particularly good game. It was a game that went back and forth, and it went into overtime. And in overtime, the Lewisburg team had an opportunity to score a goal, and the ball hit the crossbar and bounced out. A couple of minutes later, the other team had a breakaway 2-on-1. The player made a great pass, and the shooter put it in the net past a diving Scotty for the winning goal. Our team was eliminated. The other team was celebrating in the joy of going to a state championship game. A state championship game that they would go on and win. As I watched that moment, it had been a great game. And if you love soccer, it was one of the beautiful things about soccer because it was such an incredible game. But at the same time, I was devastated because these were kids I know who had poured so much into this. And there they were, defeated in overtime, one game short of playing for a state championship. What do you say to your students at a time like that? And I pondered that question as I made my way down the stands and headed onto the field to seek out some of the players. My eyes caught Scotty's as he was coming off the field, and he ran over to me. And before I could say anything to try and console him, Scotty looked at me and he goes, "Wasn't that an incredible game? I hope it was as good a game to watch as it was to play in, because that was just so much fun. It was great soccer." That was pure joy that he experienced and that he was able to express. It wasn't devastation over the fact that they lost, but it was joy in celebrating the fact he had a part in such an incredible game. See, joy overcomes circumstances, whatever they may be. And I hope that's something that we all look for, to allow God's joy to fill us even in our difficult moments. So I want to encourage you today and throughout this weekend, be like Scotty. Focus on the joy of the Lord. Draw on the joy of the Lord. And demonstrate the joy of the Lord to the world around you today and in the days to come. Now, this Sunday, we encourage you to be in worship with us. We'll be worshiping at 9 and 11. And if you can't join us online, because we still know that there's a lot of COVID going around, we encourage you to join us online, either on Facebook or on YouTube, and you can catch the service. Service is still coming together. Pastor Mike was going to be preaching this week, and he tested positive this week. He's doing well, but keep him in your prayers as he fully recovers. But worship goes on, and so we hope you'll join us this Sunday for worship. Also want to remind all the ladies out there, our women's Bible study begins in person on Tuesday, and Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. And if you'd like more information on that, you can contact the church office and we'll fill you in on all the details for that. But with that, I just want to remind all of you, live with the joy of Christ today. Have a blessed day, church. We love you.